Hi, in this video I'll show you how to replace cylinder head cover on BMW E84 N20 engine. This is 2015 BMW X1 2.8 X-Drive. Surprisingly, cylinder head cover is made of plastic on these cars and may develop a crack over time, which has happened to this car. It's only 43,000 miles, but oil began dripping on exhaust plenum. It started stinking inside. This engine is used in many other versions, so most of the steps are similar to other configurations. But I will show how to remove the lower microfilter housing and trailing links to get better access to vacuum pump, which will be particular to E84 setup. Please refer to the video description for the list of required tools. Before you start working on a car, you must disconnect the negative terminal of the battery. First, remove the upper section of the microfilter housing. These are 8mm bolts. Now remove two covers on both sides. There is a rubber holder and two catches on both sides of the cover. Now detach the connector and unclamp cable from guides. Do the same on the right side. Now remove two bolts holding the cover on both sides. Release rubber holder on both sides. Now just pull the lower microfilter housing out. Turn the cover 45 degrees to the left.
This is 18mm. This is 14mm.
Pull the tension strout out. Now remove the ignition coils. Unlock plug catch. This will detach the connector. Then pull the coil out. Now I'm going to take out the fuel rail. I will undo the main line to release the pressure and have a piece of cloth ready, so fuel doesn't get into the spark plug holes. Now on this car, you'll have to remove the cowl panel cover to get better access to vacuum pump. And before that, you'll have to remove the wiper arms. Okay, this is 6mm. Now remove all the electrical harness around valve cover. E6. $8mm. Now detach the bottom line from high pressure pump. I suspect it's 17mm. This is T30. I'm gonna remove the vacuum pump there. I'm gonna use a mini ratchet, the Beatus T40. This is the schema of the vacuum pump. The 3 bolts you need to unfasten are marked in red. The right one is the hardest to get to. Be careful not to turn the electric motor inside the vacuum pump, or it will be harder to align later when you reinstall it back. $6mm. Now, depending on if you would like to keep the old valve cover, BMW advises to unscrew the bolts in the provided pattern 1 to 20. However, I would advise to get a new one since it's plastic and you don't want to do the job twice. Plus it comes with all the seals. Ironically, the actual moment is not on a video. It took me a while to pull it off. The cover can get really stuck. You may have to use a lot of force.
So as you can see, there is a crack right over this bolt here. I can even see through it. This was right over the exhaust manifold and causing the leak.
Now clean the surfaces thoroughly. You may use a razor to remove any burned gasket. Apply some fresh oil on the new gaskets. Now fasten the bolts in the same sequence, 1 to 20. You may start by hand tightening them and then do another circle with the torque wrench to tighten up. Be very careful to not over tighten these bolts because it's plastic and can crack really easily. While installing the vacuum pump back, you'll need to align the electric motor to groove on exhaust camshaft. While reinstalling the fuel rail, nuts to injectors must be able to be screwed by hand. Then tighten them manually to about how they were, but don't over tighten or you're risking to damage injectors. It's also recommended that the fuel rail stays displaceable after the installation. By tightening the trailing links, it's suggested to use a special tool to set the angle of rotation. Bolts must be tightened to torque and then tightened down to angle of rotation. If you know how to use it, the specs are on the screen. Now you're all done. Now we can reconnect the battery and try to start the car. I've got some smoke coming from residual oil on the test manifold, but other than that everything is fine. I didn't have any error codes. Thanks for watching and good luck.